fought for, what they did to survive, why they believed where no one else did, and how they forged a lasting legacy. If you thought you knew UFC history, this is the whole story in 25 parts. UFC 25 years in short.
So you wanna start a war?
Oh! Conor McGregor is the new featherweight champion of the world!
I've been saying it since the beginning. These people are not on my level.
Oh, man. Oh, he's done. History has been made!
Who the is that guy? Who the is that? Me and Jesus are cool. I talk, but guess what? I back it up. Custom-made suits aren't cheap. You know what I mean? This solid gold pocket watch. 3 people died making this watch. You know what I mean? I tell you. I like Nick's little bro. I do. He coaches kids jiu-jitsu on a Sunday morning and goes on bike rides with the elderly. He makes gun signs with the right hand and animal balloons with the left hand. I can make you rich. I change your bum life. You fight me, it's a celebration. When you sign to fight me, it's a celebration. You ring back home, you ring your wife. Baby, we done it. We're rich, baby. Conor McGregor made us rich. Break out the red panties. We're rich, baby. I own this town. I own Rio de Janeiro. I'm sitting up here with my feet on the desk. What's anyone up there gonna do about it? Don't try and tell me that gold belt sitting up right there on this table would not look great to go alongside this ivory elephant trunk suit that I have got on me right now. This is what confidence is like. Serious. This is what big Irish balls look like. I shook his hand, I embraced him, I gave him a little cuddle, I told him everything's gonna be A-okay. It'll be over before you know it. Look for myself like I really good. Imagine numbers that would do. Because really I should create my own belt. Because I make myself my own belt. It doesn't matter weight. It doesn't matter if it's the featherweight, the lightweight, welterweight. It's the McGregor belt. Every year it's like a year.
Conor McGregor sees an incident between a buddy of his, starts him getting into a beef. It ended up Conor McGregor grabbing a steel dolly and all hell breaking loose.
Why you need to come here? Just send a message. Without security, without UFC, just tell me where.
The original idea about the UFC came to me in 1989. I had sourced an article about Rorion Gracie in the September issue of Playboy magazine. And of course, I wasn't looking at the pictures. I was just reading the article. And it's all about Gracie's down in Brazil. These guys were willing to get on that ring and challenge other disciplines.
I was doing pay-per-view, but basically for rock and roll bands. And I had a friend who was head of the New York State Taekwondo Association. And one day I said to him, there's all these Taekwondo people, all these karate people, and they would want to know who would win the fight. The following week, Orion and Art David came to me and said, what about jiu-jitsu? I said, let them all fight.
What it should be called is the Ultimate Fighting Championship. And Art said, so why? I said, because there's nothing beyond ultimate.
Early on, we had to decide what kind of arena we put this in. I wanted bigger than a boxing ring. I had guys from so many different disciplines, I didn't want to mix in a phone booth. Then I came up with the idea of electrifying an outer ring. And one of Orion's students, who was a cardiologist, said, have you ever heard the word Davey, ventricular fibrillation? I said, what's that? So that idea was out.
Rorion Gracie had a student, John Milius, a famous movie writer and director.
I love the smell of napalm.
We went to visit John Milius.
John made reference to the fact that he's got Arnold Schwarzenegger as Conan the Barbarian fighting the pit.
And John Milius suggested an octagon. Now, he also suggested that we dig it into the pit, that we have guys. Didn't appeal to me, but the octagon, which would be a different way to do an event. That
in all fairness, it really wasn't John Milius's idea.
I started out as a designer, and the first job that I did was on Pee-wee's Playhouse, and was actually inside Punky 2000, the real life. I got a call from Mike Pilot one morning. They were looking for someone to design the arena for UFC 1. The first things I did were a circular raised platform in the middle with fencing on the outside. Another one was a square platform, so like a box ring, but the inside was raised. Another one more theatrical with fencing and bone. I knew nothing about martial arts, but I had seen Chuck Norris. There was a smoke movie called The Octagon. I had seen it when I was a kid, and that's how The Octagon came an Octagon. Yeah! They wanted something that was going to keep the fighters contained. We had talked about plexiglass and decided that could be too dangerous for the fighters. And I happened across this vinyl-coated chain link fence, and that solved that problem. Greg was doing a lot of traveling. He asked me if I could take it over. So what would happen is I would describe to Greg different ideas, and he would draw them, because he's an illustrator and I'm not. And then I built the Octagon. Because he's an illustrator and I'm not. And then I built the Octagon. I lived in New York. SEG designer something to do.
Bob Meyerowitz introduced me to Art Davey and Rorion Gracie. From day one, the most important thing that we had to do to make sure it looks like nothing they've ever seen. When someone buys a boxing event, they see a ring. And I said, it can't look like a ring. It's got to look different. And I said, let's just make it 8 sides. Greg, he had that information when he drew the sketches.
They knew I created the Octagon. I was doing fights. I started judo when I was 5 in El Paso, Texas. My show was February of 1993. The UFC wasn't until November of 93. Art Davey came to my show.
I drove out with Royce, and when the two fighters showed up, one dressed a futuristic way and the other dressed like in a military way, they looked like wrestlers. I looked at what they were doing, and it was a tall, 4-sided wrestling type cage.
It was an octagon shape.
Royce seemed to be bored. We stayed for only 2 bouts, and Royce looked at me and said, let's go get some Brazilian food.
If I didn't do Cage or Rage in the Octagon, they would never have done it in an octagon. If SEG knew they wanted an octagon before they called me in, why would I waste precious time showing P-Lot round and square fighting rings? That makes no sense. SEG didn't know what they wanted until they saw my octagon design.
My recollection and memory is the guy who had most responsibility. The creation of the octagon is Jason Cousin.
Gregory was the designer. Jason Cousin was the architect.
But Michael came up with a concept.
It's interesting to me, all the people who now say they conceived the Octagon. We're not designers. And yet somehow they all came up with the Octagon design.
You don't need a design degree to come up with an Octagon.
Success has 1,000 parents. Failure has none.
That is the power of jiu-jitsu in action.
After the first UFC, I had the crew help me put all of it on rest so we could take it to dumpsters out back because we were pretty certain they're never going to let us do this again. And all of a sudden, our Davey's running out.
Bob and I paid $28,000 for that.
He said, I want to store this just in case. We might try this again.
The Fix Finder tool from AutoZone is a fast source of relief. It tells you what's the most likely for your engine light on the spot. For her, a gas cap. For them, new spark plugs. Need a repair shop? We can help with that too. So, how will the AutoZone Fix Finder help you? This torque wrench is on a mission. It helped this guy on his ride. He fixed that, him and his engine. And her, the brake job. It's just one of 100 specialty tools that AutoZone loans for free. So what are you going to do with it?
UFC champion Harbib Nurmagomedov. 26-0. He's getting mauled. 10-0 using like everybody else before him. Where's Conor? Let's go with your chicken. Oh! He slapped him! Where the f*** is my belt?
The Irish are back!
The long view of history is a series of short stories. Pieces of a puzzle that symbol help us understand it all. How the great ones rose, where they came from, and how they endure. What they fought for, what they did to survive, why they believed when no one else did, how they forged a lasting legacy. If you thought you knew UFC history, this is the whole story in 25 parts. UFC 25 years short.
So you wanna start a war?
Oh! Conor McGregor is the new featherweight champion of the world!
I've been saying it since the beginning. These people are not on my level.
Oh, man. Oh, he's done.
History has been made!
I'm still saying it today. Only everyone else do. After this, who is there? Who the f*** is there?
He hasn't fought 2 years. The Mayweather fight doesn't count. You know, the division has to move on. The winner of this fight will be the champion.
I think that Conor will be stripped by the time this fight take place.
We'll see what happens.
I don't give a about Conor. I think about only belt. I don't care who's my opponent. Who wins this fight becomes a real lightweight champion.
I won't wait deserve what I've earned.
Does anyone lay their finger on me to take that second belt? No.
Now war's upon us.
Breaking news, Conor McGregor caught on video.
Grabs McDolly and smashed it in a bus window.
Because he sees into when the buddy of his are into with Harbib.
There was a warrant out for Conor McGregor's arrest.
UFC superstar Conor McGregor was taken into custody.
Listen, you don't like Harbib and you don't like him or whatever. Just fight Harbib.
You wanna become lightweight champion? You have to fight me. Just tell me where. Just send me location.
October, Las Vegas. It's on, ladies and gentlemen. The hype behind this contest is insane. It will be the biggest fight in history. Harbib Nurmagomedov mauls people. 26-0.
Nobody can beat him. Nobody. When cage close can't be.
Hans giving them this indestructible feeling as if he can be knocked out, but he can't will.
Oh! He slapped him!
I'm on different level. I wanna change his face. We have to finish this. Let's go.
It's over before it even begins.
Shot by shot, he will crumble.
The players that shall whoop your ass. The king is back. The TKO's people, when I knock people out, they don't move. Who the is that guy?
Me and Jesus are cool. I'm cool with all the gods. Gods recognize gods.
People are always going to talk, and I talk, and I talk, and I talk, but guess what? I back it up. I back it up.
Custom-made suits aren't cheap. You know what I mean? This all gold pocket watch. 3 people died making this watch. You know what I mean?
I tell you, I like mixed meal, bro. I do. He coaches kids jiu-jitsu on a Sunday morning and goes on bike rides with the elderly. He makes gun signs with the right hand and animal balloons with the left hand.
I can make you rich. I change your bum life. You find me, it's a celebration. When you find me, it's a celebration. You ring back home, you ring your wife. Baby, we're rich, baby. Conor McGregor made us rich. Break out the red panties. We're rich, baby.
I own this town. I own Real Vision now. I'm sitting up here with my feet on the desk. What's anyone up there gonna do about it?
Don't try and tell me that gold belt sitting up right there on this table will not look neat to go alongside this ivory elephant trunk suit that I have got on me right now.
This is what confidence looks like. Serious. This is what big Irish balls look like.
I shook his hand, I embraced him, I gave him a little cuddle, I told him everything's gonna be A-okay. It will be over before you know it.
I'd love to find myself if I really could. I mean, imagine the numbers that one they do.
Because really, I should create my own belt. Because I am in myself my own belt. It doesn't matter weight. It doesn't matter if it's a better weight. It's my McGregor belt.
Every year is my year.
Conor McGregor sees an incident to a buddy of his, or getting into it with Khabib. He ended up with Conor McGregor grabbing a steel dolly and all hell breaking loose.
Why you need to come here? Just send a message. Without security, without UFC, just tell me where.
Conor McGregor!
Most dynamic and spectacular fighters in the history of the sport.
The king is back! Hungry! He is undefeated, 26-0. Everything is world class. This is the most highly anticipated fight of all time. I can't believe it.
Almost time. Almost time.
Watch the UFC's biggest names, and stars, and fan favorites on a featured bout of the UFC Fight Pass early previews. No matter where the fight goes down, UFC Fight Pass is the place to see every moment of UFC Fight Pass early previews.
Oh my goodness!
Start your 7-day free trial now.
Fix Finder tool from AutoZone is a fast source of relief. It tells you what the most likely fix for your engine. Them, new spark plugs. In your repair shop, we count too. So, how will the AutoZone Fix Finder? His torque wrench is on mission. This guy on his ride. He fixed that, him and his engine. And her with a brake shop. And it's just one tool that AutoZone loans for free. So what are you gonna do with it?
UFC lightweight champion of the world, Khabib Nurmagomedov!
26-0. He's involved. And all UFC.
Everybody.
Let's go to chicken.
Oh! He slapped him!
Run the blood, the king's back! I'm gonna KO you inside one now!
Where the f*** is my belt?
The Irish are back!
Long View of History is a series of short stories, pieces of a puzzle that, assembled, help us understand it all. How the great rose, where they came from, and how they endured. They fought for what they did to survive, how they believed no one else did, and how they forged a lasting legacy. If you thought you knew UFC history, this is the whole story. 25 parts. UFC 25 years in short.
So you want to start a war?
Oh! Conor McGregor is the featherweight champion of the world!
I've been saying it since the beginning. These people are not on my level.
Oh man, history has been made!
I'm still saying it today. Only everyone else is saying it now too. After this, who is there?
He hasn't for 2 years. You know, the division has to move on. Winner of this fight will be champion. See what happens.
Both Conor. I can hold only belt. I don't care who's my opponent. Who wins fight, we can real legend.
I want what I deserve, what I've earned.
Does anyone lay me to me champ? No.
No wars on us.
Breaking news, Conor McGregor caught on video.
Grabbed steel dolly, smashed it, a buzz wheel.
Season in 20 years.
There's a warrant out for Conor McGregor's arrest.
UFC superstar Conor McGregor was taken to custody.
Listen, you don't like Khabib, you know what happened. Never can fight Khabib.
You want to become lightweight champion? Get to fight Khabib. Just come out, just send official.
October, Las Vegas. It's on, ladies and gentlemen. The hype behind this contest is insane. It will be the biggest fight in history. Hабиб Nurmagomedov, 26-0.
When the cage closed, he had a big problem. Disrupt the feeling as he can down there. He can, he will.
Oh! He's up!
I back it up! I back it up!
Because I'm a cheap.
2-2 on a Sunday morning, goes on a bike ride with the elderly. He with the right hand and animal balloons with the left hand.
I can make you rich. I changed one night. Fight me at the celebration. You try to fight me at a celebration. You win back home. You real wife. Baby, we done. We're rich, baby. Conor McGregor made him rich. Break out the red panties. We're rich, baby.
I own Rio de Janeiro. I'm sitting up here with my feet on the desk. What's anyone up there gonna do about it?
Don't make that gold there on this table would not look great to go alongside this ivory elephant trunk suit that I have got on me right now.
This is what confidence looks like. Serious. This is what big Irish balls look like.
I shook his hand. I embraced him. I gave him a little cuddle. I told him everything's gonna be A-okay. It will be over before you know it.
I'd love to fight myself if I really could. I mean, imagine the numbers that one would do.
I should create my own belt because I am in myself. My own belt. It doesn't matter weight. It doesn't matter if it's a featherweight, lightweight, welterweight. It's a belt.
Every year is my year.
Conor McGregor sees an instant 20 of his after getting into it with Khabib. It ended up with Conor McGregor grabbing Steel Valley